Hello, true duelists. YGO Strats here, coming at you with a Wednesday video where I'm going to be going over the deck that I just call Garnet Turbo, because my god does this deck really embrace the notion of the Garnet, with not just one Garnet, but really 7 of them. Yeah, that's right, it's Crystal Beasts. We're going over the gems, the rocks, the Garnets. This is an interesting deck in that it's the first one that kind of did its own gimmick, and there hasn't really been one like it since. Namely that instead of your monsters going to the graveyard, they sit almost entirely uselessly face up in your spell and trap zone. It's something. That's not to say that it's terrible and there's nothing to do with them, it's just kind of blatantly apparent that these cards were printed in 2007, seeing as how their more modern support includes one that has an effect on the spell and trap zone and is, actually good. So without further ado, let's get into it. We've got 7 useless cards in front of me, namely the original 7 Crystal Beast, of which 2 of them are good. That is alarmingly high in terms of playability count for a series of cards printed in the GX era, I can assure you. Pegasus here is the tried and true good one of the deck, always has been, always will be. On normal or special summon, it can set a Crystal Beast from your deck face up in your spell and trap zone as a means to get your Garnets out of the deck and your Crystal Beast onto the field. Ruby Carbuncle is, I guess, a carbuncle, but I mean, I've never seen it and not thought of Espeon, so sorry Konami, Pokemon beat you to the punch on that one. Espeon summons the Crystal Beast from your spell and trap zone when it itself is special summoned, so it's actually pretty decent for its ability to, say, swarm the field. After that, they're useless. Cobalt puts one on top of your deck maybe, Tortoise does a defense position change, Amber Mammoth redirects attacks and maybe targeting effects, don't know, not gonna read it. Cat can attack directly for 600 damage and is bad, and Topaz Tiger is at least the dirty beater, because it's 1600 when it's being attacked, but it gains 400 attack when it's attacking. So it's a pseudo 2k attacker on normal summon, but nah, that was okay once upon a time, maybe not so much anymore. And that's it, you've got 5 useless Garnets, one that you kind of don't actually want to draw into, and one that you actually want to see, and Konami printed that and said, it's a whole ass deck, play it, figure it out, we don't care. And for a long time, people did try to figure it out. It is a interesting deck, it is unique in and of itself with its gimmick, and so we desperately wanted it to be good as well, and Konami said, play Destiny Heroes, or whatever it was they were saying in 07. I guess by that point it was like, play, Dark Arm Dragon was approaching, I don't know. I didn't play in 2007, whatever the meta was, Jinzo probably. And so for a long time, people did try to make it somewhat decent and playable. Once upon a time, rare value was an okay means to discount Pot of Greed. The opponent would send one of your 2 face-ups, Crystal Beast spell and traps, that were required to activate it, and then you get to draw 2 cards. That's not terrible, certainly in 2007 standards. You also had Crystal Beacon, a card I still play as like a 1 or maybe 2 of, depending on how I'm feeling, that if you have 2 face-up Crystal Beast spell and trap monsters, then you can summon one from the deck, more often than not Ruby Carbuncle. And then lastly was like the entire deck for some time, Crystal Abundance, which requires you to control 4 Crystal Beasts in your spell and trap zone, but will blow up the entire field and then summon as many Crystal Beasts from your graveyard as possible. So it's basically turbo into as many of the high attack number Crystal Beasts as you could, activate Abundance, and then OTK. And that was the deck, Crystal Abundance OTK. That was as it was played for a number of years. Now as the deck kinda grew and the formats around it changed, and by the deck grew, I mean Xyz monsters were introduced. I can remember at one point the deck being played as like a Lightning Chidori Turbo of sorts, still doing the Crystal Abundance OTK, but if it couldn't, you could use Eagle and Pegasus to overlay for the Lightning Chud, which was cute. It wasn't very good, but that was about when I kind of started playing it seriously, back in, I don't know, 2013, 2014. In the recent years, we finally got what I call the good support, and that is to say the cards that are worth playing. But first we got, maybe first, who knows, we got Rainbow Bridge, which is a Rhoda for any of their spell and trap, practically speaking. It adds any crystal spell or trap card from your deck to your hand. Now, the best one to add was and always will be Crystal Bond, which shows Espeon again looking cute. And this will not only serve as your Crystal Beast Rhoda, but it will also set a Crystal Beast monster in your spell and trap zone as well, which means if you're searching Pegasus, which you almost certainly are, this card by itself can pretty much get you 2 Crystal Beasts in your spell and trap zone to get your effects going off and your combos playing. And now onto the newest support. As of my making this video, we've just received the Crystal Beast Structure deck. And as it turns out, it isn't just a reprint of Ash Blossom that you could afford, it's also an entire deck. Yeah, we got some solid new cards in here. First up, and in my opinion the best one of the support of the deck, was Rainbow Bridge of the Heart. Now the only tragedy of this card is that it is not searchable by itself off of Rainbow Bridge, but it is kind of searchable, and you can cheat search it through other means that I'll get to in a second. This card here can give you the double summon that the deck desperately needed to be able to cheat out its monsters, and more importantly, can destroy a Crystal Beast you control to add a Crystal Spell or Trap from deck to hand. Now that's great because you can normal summon Pegasus, put Pegasus in the Spell and Trap zone with first Pegasus effect, then destroy that Pegasus to add a Crystal Spell using Rainbow Bridge here, and then with that you can grab Crystal Beacon, activate it, summon Ruby Carbuncle from the deck, and you summon back the 2 Pegasus in your Spell and Trap zone, and you get 2 more Crystal Beasts out of the deck. Maybe that's a little convoluted to be explained in person without an exact demonstration. We'll see how much effort I put into the editing of this video. But the point is, you can get those Garnets out of the deck, because if you're playing all the OG beasts, you are having a bad time in some capacity. Next, I'll talk about Awakening of the Crystal Ultimates. I read cards, I assure you. This kind of sucks because you have to reveal an ultimate crystal monster, namely a Rainbow Dragon or a Rainbow Dark Dragon, to activate it, or you could control one instead, but more often than not you'll have to reveal one. It will allow you to activate one of 2 effects if you reveal it, and you can activate both of its effects if you control the ultimate crystal monster. This either will get you a Rainbow Bridge or Rainbow Refraction card from deck to hand, or send it to the graveyard, or special summon a Crystal Beast from your hand, deck, grave, or spell and trap zone. Now, almost every time I reveal a Rainbow Dragon and add the Bridge Heart, the continuous spell, but there are other things you can do with it. And the only issue is that you have to reveal Rainbow Dragon. You need to be playing the Rainbow Dragon. This isn't terrible because of the next new card they got, which was Crystal Beast Rainbow Dragon, which can special summon itself when a Rainbow Beast declares an attack. Rainbow Beast can special summon itself when a Crystal Beast declares an attack as just a 3k beater, but more importantly, when it's destroyed and it's in the spell and trap zone, or when you put it in the spell and trap zone through one of your other monster effects, it can banish itself to add a copy of Rainbow Dragon from deck to hand and special summon a Crystal Beast from your deck with its effects negated. Now that's most important because you're just getting your shitty little Garnets out of the deck, but you're adding Rainbow Dragon to be able to use your ultimate Crystal Quick Play Reveal spell. And that's the bread and butter of the deck, is just turn 1 going through as many plays and means to get all those shitty little Garnets out of the deck to be able to summon the big boss monster, which I'll get to in a minute. The last new piece of support I play is Crystal Miracle, which is what this deck desperately needed to be played. A miracle. Yeah, this is a counter trap that will negate the activation of a spell, trap, or monster effect from the opponent and destroy it by destroying 1 Crystal Beast card you control. And then it's got a grave effect where it can banish itself when a Crystal Beast is placed in your spell and trap zone to set another Crystal Beast into the spell and trap zone from the hand, deck, or graveyard. And that's solid. I play it max 2 of, because those don't go that long in Crystal Beast one way or the other. Now, I don't have Rainbow Dragon here with me physically because apparently I just didn't grab it, but Rainbow Dragon's a weird one because it's the most quintessential GX card to have ever been created. A dragon boss monster for an archetype that has nothing to do with dragons, although I guess they're all vaguely, they're animals, it's a zoo, but like, why is it a giant serpent dragon that's the boss? Anyways, the point is it's got 2 effects, but they kind of suck, not because of the effects themselves, but because you can't activate the effects the turn you summon Rainbow Dragon. You have to wait until your next turn, where after which it's probably long gone. Either you can banish any number of Crystal Beasts or all Crystal Beasts from your grave to gain 1,000 attack for each, so it just becomes like an 11k beater usually, or you can tribute it to shuffle every other card on the field into the deck. Now that's a really strong effect, even today. The problem is, again, you have to wait to activate it, and 2, you go through all of this trouble to summon a boss monster, and the first thing it does is leave the field. Cool. No, that's what I want to do with my boss monsters, just throw them in the trash immediately. Thank you, Konami. Now, in time, Konami gave us 2 upgrades to this card. Rainbow Over Dragon and Ultimate Crystal Rainbow Dragon Overdrive, because apparently we're just going to the DDD school of throwing every single word into the card title that we can. Now, I'm not gonna lie, I haven't read Over Dragon in a minute, because in the build I'm playing, it's a stepping stone. But as I remember it, it gains attack, and it can, shuffle things away. So let's read it together, folks. You can fusion summon it by tributing a crystal beast you control, and by a crystal beast I mean a rainbow dragon, an ultimate crystal monster, and you can banish a crystal beast from your graveyard to attack equal to the banished monster's attack until the end of the turn. So it's got a worse effect than the original, arguably, and then its other effect is you contribute this fusion summoned cards to shuffle all cards on the field into the deck. So it's the same problem. You go through all this legwork to summon a big dirty beater, and Konami just wants you to get rid of it. So they finally introduced a new one, Overdrive Dragon here. And this one, it's the same fucking thing, essentially. Now, this one's a little different because you can just special summon it by banishing its materials from the graveyard. Its materials are 1 Ultimate Crystal Monster and 7 Crystal Beasts. Now, thankfully, you don't have to use 7 differently named Crystal Beasts. You could hypothetically banish all your Ruby Carbuncles or whatever, but you still have to have summoned a Ultimate Crystal Monster properly to be able to do this. So you need to get out Rainbow Dragon or a Rainbow Overload Dragon guy, purple man, before you can get this guy out. So you will most likely be getting out the 7 Garnets, which is horrible. This guy's a little better. If you have 7 differently named Crystal Beast monsters that are banished, it just gains 7,000 attack. So by summoning it, you can just make it an 11k beater by itself, which is a big number. It's kind of fun to punch big with 11k. And then its other effect is this contribute itself to shuffle all of the cards into the deck and then special summon as many banished Crystal Beast monsters as you can. So it will at least replace itself, but again, you've given me this big, strong boss monster, and the best thing it does is get itself off the field, which is like the perfect metaphor for Crystal Beast. The best things they do is they just leave, they just go away, which is a fucking shame because I do like the deck. The deck actually holds a pretty special place to me because the first ever box I bought was I went to a hobby shop, the first hobby shop I had ever visited, and I bought a box of Stardust Overdrive and Force of the Breaker, because Stardust Overdrive was the newest set and Force of the Breaker looked the coolest. And it had all the Crystal Beast monsters in it. So I have a bunch of the Crystal Beasts and I really wanted to play them. They looked cool, they looked interesting, but they weren't very good. Now, granted, that's just GX decks because I also wanted to play Volcanic, and you know what else wasn't very good in 2009? Volcanics and Crystal Beasts, but here I was struggling. Either way, it's a very nostalgic deck for me just because it was my first entrance to really, collecting and playing Yu-Gi-Oh cards en masse beyond hoping that my parents might buy me a pack that I can play with at recess before that one fuckhead stole my Catapult Turtle. Now, I don't remember the name of that kid, but I can tell you, if I were to obtain time travel, I wouldn't go back and mess up the time stream by attempting to, kill Hitler, because you should kill Hitler, but don't get me wrong, I'm just saying that causes a paradox that it can't. Too many people are going to be doing it anyways. I have faith in all of you to be the ones to save us all by killing Hitler and throwing the timeline into a paradox. Either way, we are off topic here. I'm going back in time, and my grown ass is going to charge down the playground and just drop kick a 10-year-old for stealing my Catapult Turtle. That's what I'm gonna do. Now, I know the optics of that. I know that that's going to be a grown man hurtling himself onto a playground while school's going on and assaulting a child, and that's very, 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 very bad. You shouldn't do that. But more than that, you shouldn't have stolen my fucking Catapult Turtle, buddy. So if I ever get time travel, that is my goal. I'm just gonna be front, I'm just gonna be real with you all. That is the one thing I would do with a time machine. Morally, I'm pretty sure I'm in the right. That Catapult Turtle was from the first pack of Yu-Gi-Oh cards my parents ever bought me, and that fuckhead stole it because I was a dumb little 8-year-old who didn't know what was going on, and I resent that to this day. That being said, Crystal Beasts are a pretty fun deck because you're fighting itself. I feel like any opening hand that has more than one bad named Crystal Beast is almost... I don't think I've won after opening like Amber Mammoth and Emerald Tortoise. I've never been able to turn a hand with that into a W, because even if I go through the full motions and get like every other Crystal Beast name in the graveyard, I can't get both of them out of my hand, and so I'm just stuck with this Emerald Tortoise in my hand, and it's the last thing I need in the graveyard to be able to do the Rainbow Dragon shenanigans, but I can't do it. And that's kind of the deck, is you're fighting yourself and the opponent, and that is a level of beauty and dedication to dueling that I truly respect when it comes to playing this game. When you're so dedicated to playing the cards you like because you like them in spite of their blatant flaws, that's when you're having fun. Or at least that's when I'm having fun, or maybe that's just when I really, really hate the Emerald Tortoise. Who knows? The deck is very simple as I play it. It's turbo out as many of those monsters as I can just to be able to summon the Rainbow Dragon to get into overdrive, which is really funny because as I've researched it, I've seen people, and even I've started playing like Cherubini, because if you summon one level 3 off of the Crystal Beast Rainbow Dragon effect, and then you Crystal Beacon for another level 3, maybe Carbuncle to get some stuff back on the field out of the Spell and Trap Zone. But either way, you send the level 3 Tortoise or Cat and the Carbuncle to make Cherubini, and use Cherubini's effect to Foolish Burial the third level 3 Crystal Beast in the deck, just to get it the fuck out of the deck, because there's no worse top deck than the OG Crystal Beasts. And it's just weird janky stuff like that. It's so many things dedicated to try and get through 7 Garnets, or okay, 5 Garnets, but it's just fun. It's a whole strategy and combination to try and not have to lose to yourself that I really respect. If that's not why you like Crystal Beast and it's not why you play it, and maybe I'm turning you off from it with this, haha, oops, I don't really care. This is just why I like playing the deck. That and the fact that it's the rainbow deck. It's the gay deck. If you don't play it, you're homophobic. Or something like that. I don't know, is that joke even remotely funny anymore? I don't think so. I think I do it too much. But in my defense, it's literally the rainbow deck. It's got the 7 colors of the rainbow, the Sapphire Pegasus, the Emerald Tortoise. When every child looks up at the rainbow, they think, wow, look at that amber mammoth. I don't know. I don't even know anymore. I'm just filming videos out here. It's Crystal Beasts. It's pretty fun, and it's really fucking cheap now because the entire deck is just available to purchase as a structure deck. And even better than that, it came with things like Dimension Shifter and Ash Blossom. So you literally can get a decently viable deck in a local setting for the cost of 3 structure decks. 3 structure decks can absolutely make this into a competent Rainbow Dragon Crystal Beast deck. Now, in terms of the actual competitively viable, I believe this card, or this deck, got a trap card that searches Mystic Mine, or more accurately, any field spell, but Mystic Mine in the Megatins. My Megatin pulls were incredibly cursed, so I did not pull that one, but I guess that's like the best way to play it. I think when you're playing this deck like as competitively as you can, you maybe play Crystal Beast Rainbow Dragon, Sapphire Pegasus, and like Carbuncle, and then that's it. You don't play the other Crystal Beast monsters, you just use the engine to be able to tutor out other more generic stuff. But when I played it, I figured, fuck it, it's never gonna be the best deck, even when you play it as optimally as you can. I may as well play it in the more quote-unquote intended way, or for me, the more fun way, the more unique way, because sure, I can probably use Crystal Beast Pegasus to make some generic Link monsters and rank 4s or whatever to try and scuzz out a win, but I can also just play good decks to put out generic Link monsters or generic rank 4s and scuzz out some wins. This deck can uniquely give me the big purple Rainbow Dragon, and not many other ones do that, so that's how I chose to play it. And that's about all I have to say about Crystal Beasts. They're a janky little mess of a deck. It's impressive Konami made them as competent as they have over time, given that these are from GX, but that's what it is. Check them out if you want to. I'm not going to pretend I've put more thought into this than I have. It's not a deck I'm labbing to be as good as it can be. I'm still desperately trying to find a replacement for Paleo Frog, and this is, as it turns out, just not it. So we'll see if there's a deck list here or not. I might be rambling into nothing. Who knows? Thank you for watching. Leave a like, leave a subscription, leave a comment, leave your house once a day, go for a walk. Get some sunlight. Don't do what I'm doing. These bright lights staring at my face, blinding me as the day goes on. Don't do that. Go outside, touch some grass, get some ass. Fuck it. YGO Strats. See you next time.